So now we are going to be talking about boost EQ on your kick. So let's grab an EQ. I'm going to do, again, the FabFilter Pro Q3. That's just what I prefer. You can use whatever you like. It really doesn't matter. So first, we're going to want to see the frequencies. If your EQ does not do what mine does, where it shows us the frequencies coming through, then you're going to want to go up to Audio Effects and grab a spectrum. And you can even double click it. So you can have a spectrum down here if you want. And so you can see your frequencies. When they come through, you can see where these kicks are and stuff. But mine, you can see them and do some cool stuff with it, which is just a perk of having the professional stuff. Okay, so I'm going to look at this frequency here coming through, and we want to find something close to 80 and around 120, somewhere around there. That is the main kick frequency. FabFilter has this great thing where if you just listen to it long enough, it'll tell you where the main frequency is on not just kicks, but anything. If it's a treble frequency or if it's a good frequency that you need to boost or take out, it just will tell you these are the hot spots. Watch. Look at that. 96 hertz. And if I were to grab this dot, boom, it's going to make a bell for me, which is really dope about having FabFilter. I'm not sponsored by FabFilter or anything. They're just my favorite in the entire world. We now have where our kick is going to be most punchy because the bass is not going to make something punchy. What you're really going to feel, the chest pump is like 80 hertz to 120, somewhere around there. So 96 is a pretty good chest pump like kick frequency. I would really prefer like an 80, but we can work with a 96. So now let's pull it all the way out. No punch. You feel nothing in your chest besides that bass, which we don't really even want. So we're going to pump the kick up a little bit. Basically, you want to pump it until it's kind of, this is where like your mixing ears come in. You definitely don't want to be like way up here, but it depends on what kick you're using. Normally, I wouldn't boost past 0.3 on your kick, or you're just going to disrupt the entire sound. It's normally very subtle. If you start cut out, it's going to be easier to hear what you're doing. And if you get up past +3, you might be doing too much. Adding normally is just to dynamically make these frequencies punch through the mix, not necessarily change the sound too much. So something around there was reasonably okay. 1.9 dB. Yeah, and I'm going to even cut the low end again. I'm going to raise the Q of the low pass so that we can kind of get a more even cutoff towards the 80s. 90s frequencies instead of cutting those off. Because we don't need that low end. We just need like the 70 and up. So like right here, we could even on the FabFilter, we can do a brick wall. I think you could do it on the Ableton too. And you can cut up until you know that like you can cut off those sounds. So watch. So we obviously wouldn't want to go this high. So 63, we don't want to cut off past 63. So that's somewhere good to start. And so if we were to take this low cut and do like a 24 and then just even everything out, you can see that after 63, it is going to round up. That's why I was saying raise that Q on that low cut. Just enough to pump it a little bit, bring it back. We don't want to cut off that 60. Right there. I actually don't like it. Okay, so now it's cutting off too much of that life at the low end. And it's okay to do something that you're supposed to do or that you normally do and not like it. Listen to your ears. So I'm going to still cut off low end. I'm just going to bring it down now, and or bring the frequency down and see where I like it, because it's cutting off too much. Now, I normally, I'm going to lower this Q a little bit just to get a little more. Now, next thing is you really want to volume check yourself here. So we're getting a negative 13.5 after this EQ. So if we need to bring it down, just 0.3. So let's do a negative 0.3. There we go. Absolutely no level changes in the dB. Sound changes for sure. Now the 96 hertz frequency that we found, that was a good frequency for the punch of the kick, is going to be cutting through more, even though we took down 0.3 dB, which the small changes, remember, are the best changes. If you're changing too much, you're not mixing properly. For the most part, it really depends on your sound. That's all I'm going to boost on this kick, because we already cut out, and when we cut out the frequencies earlier, that added a lot of life. We don't need to boost much more until maybe later on in the mix when you need to fix issues or something like that. But right now, when you're just listening to the sound of the kick, that's all you need to do. In the next video, we'll be talking about percussion and how to EQ and work with that.